Hi everyone. Today I'll be diving into an important and often overlooked topic, men's mental health. Now you might be wondering, why the emphasis on men specifically? Well, the truth is, while mental health issues impact everyone, men often face unique barriers when it comes to addressing them. In today's episode, I'll explore these challenges and why it's crucial for men to speak out and how we can all contribute to shifting the conversation. So whether you're a guy struggling with your own mental health or someone who wants to be a better support to men in your life, this episode is for you. So let's get into it. When we think about men's mental health, one word that keeps coming up is stigma. For far too long, society has promoted this idea that men should be tough, resilient, and impervious to pain. The image of the strong, silent type is glorified in movies and media. Men are often expected to bottle up their emotions, be stoic, and just push through any hardship. But here's the problem. This stereotype is not only outdated, it's downright dangerous. The notion that men shouldn't express vulnerability creates a barrier to seeking help. Many men feel ashamed or weak if they admit they're struggling. They might worry about being perceived as less masculine or fear judgment from their peers, family, or even from themselves. This stigma is a huge reason why men are less likely to reach out for professional help when they're going through tough times. A recent study from the National Institute of Mental Health shows that while women are more likely to be diagnosed with depression, men are far more likely to die by suicide. In fact, in many countries, men are 3 to 4 times more likely to take their own lives. This disparity doesn't mean that men don't experience emotional pain. It means that they're not talking about it. They're not getting the help that they need. And this culture of silence is quietly, literally killing men. Let's talk about why speaking out matters. There's this saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. This might sound simple, but when there's real truth to it. When someone speaks out about their mental health struggles, they're not only taking a first step towards getting help, but also making it okay for others to do the same. Opening up allows men to release some of the emotional burden they've been carrying. Mental health issues don't just disappear when you ignore them. They build up and can manifest as anger, frustration, substance abuse, or even physical health problems like heart disease or high blood pressure. Speaking out is the first step in breaking this cycle. But it's not just about reducing your own burden. By being open about mental health, men are contributing to a broader cultural shift. Every time a man shares this story, he's challenging that stigma we talked about earlier. He's showing others that it's okay to be vulnerable, that mental health is as important as physical health, and that seeking help is a sign of strength and not weakness. One powerful example of this when high-profile athletes or public figures talk about their mental health struggles. Guys like NBA player Kevin Love or NFL player Dak Prescott, both of whom have been incredibly open about their battles with anxiety and depression, have helped normalize these conversations. When men like them, who are often seen as the epitome of masculinity, speak out, it sends a powerful message. It's okay not to be okay. Now let's talk about the crucial support systems. For men, feeling like they're in an environment where they won't be judged for speaking out can make all the difference. Whether it's friends, family, a partner, or even colleagues, having people who listen without judgment is key. But how do we create these supportive spaces? Well, it starts with fostering open communication. Encourage men in your life to share their thoughts and feelings regularly, not just in the moments of crisis. Ask them how they're doing beyond the surface level. And when they do open up, be present. Listen without offering immediate solutions or minimizing what they're going through. And men, if you're listening, know that it's okay to reach out. You don't have to carry everything on your shoulders. We often think we have everything figured out on our own, but that's simply not true. Sharing your struggles with someone who can lead to the support and help when you not even realize it. Therapy, for instance, is a great option. There's a misconception that therapy is only for people in crisis or that it's somewhat a sign of failure. In reality, therapy is a tool just like going to the gym for your physical health. Therapy is a way to strengthen your mental health. I'll address the importance of speaking out. and go over some practical steps men can take to improve their mental well-being. Firstly, start small. If you're someone who's not used to sharing your feelings, it can feel overwhelming to suddenly open up. You don't have to dive into your deepest fears right away. Start by talking about smaller stresses in your life with a trusted friend or a family member. Over time, it will become easier to talk about the bigger stuff. Secondly, focus on building a routine that supports your mental health. Exercise is a powerful way to reduce stress and improve mood. It doesn't have to be anything extreme. Even a walk outside or some light can help. Physical activity releases endorphins, which acts like a natural mood lifter. And another important step is to disconnect from the constant pressures of work or social media. Modern life is stressful, and it's important to carve out time for rest, hobbies, and moments of mindfulness. Meditation, journaling, or even just listening to music can be a way to check in with yourself and process emotions. And finally, please don't be afraid to seek professional help. A therapist or counselor can provide tools and techniques to better manage mental health. If therapy isn't accessible, there are also free helplines and online resources that can offer guidance. This is a message to all the men listening. I want to leave this with you. Speaking up about your mental health doesn't mean you're weak. It makes you human. We all go through tough times, and there's no shame in asking for help. If we can shift the conversation to one where mental health is treated with the same importance as physical health, we'll be helping not just ourselves, but future generations of men too. So take that first step. Reach out to someone today, a friend or a family member, or a professional therapist, because you're not alone in this journey. Overcoming barriers to talking about mental health and a positive impact on speaking out on both individual lives and in communities. Even the conversation is becoming more open in general. Many men still face significant barriers when it comes to opening up. These obstacles can be both internal and external. Let's talk about internal barriers. Many men have internalized the belief that talking about emotions is a sign of weakness, or that they should always be on hand and handle things on their own. For men who grew up in environments where emotional expression was discouraged, this mindset can become deeply ingrained. It's not uncommon to hear phrases like, "man up," or "don't be a wimp." Over time, these messages condition men to suppress their emotions rather than to confront them. And another internal barrier is the fear of vulnerability. It's often perceived as dangerous. It's exposing a part of yourself that you might feel is unacceptable or even broken. For men, there's sometimes a fear that admitting to a mental health issue will change how others perceive them. Will they lose respect? Will they be seen as less capable at work or in their relationship? But the reality is that vulnerability is a strength. It takes courage to confront your own struggles and share them with others. And while it might feel uncomfortable at first, it can actually build deeper connections with the people around you. When you open up and give others permission to do the same, it creates a cycle of mutual support. Some external barriers that many men face is a lack of resources or accessible outlets where they feel comfortable seeking help. Mental health services might not always feel welcoming to men, especially those who come from communities where mental health isn't a common conversation. Additionally, cultural expectations about masculinity can vary, but in many places, the pressure to be tough is overwhelming. Workplaces can play a big role in these external barriers. In environments where productivity and toughness are prized above all, many men may feel like they have to push through mental health struggles in silence, worried that showing any signs of struggle will affect their career advancement or make them appear weak to their colleagues. The key is overcoming these barriers. Begin the challenge and challenge your internal beliefs. Remind yourself that emotions are not a burden, but a natural part of being human. And from an external perspective, seek out spaces where you feel safe to talk. This could mean finding a support group specifically for men, or might just be opening up to one person that you trust. I'll talk about masculinity now. When we think of traditional masculinity, a few characteristics probably come to mind: strength, independence, stoicism. These traits aren't inherently bad. In fact, they can be valuable in certain contexts. But when they become the only traits associated with being a man, they limit the full expression of what it means to be human. This concept of masculinity has long been tied to emotional suppression, with phrases like "boys don't cry" shaping how men are expected to behave. But as we know, suppressing emotions isn't just unhelpful, it's harmful. When men aren't allowed to express themselves fully, they lose touch with an essential part of their humanity. There's a growing movement to redefine masculinity in a way that embraces vulnerability, emotional wellness, and mental well-being. This shift doesn't mean that traditional qualities like strength and resilience are thrown out the window. Instead, it's about expanding the definition of strength to include the courage to ask for help, the bravery to admit when things aren't okay, and the resilience to face emotional challenges head-on. Think about it. What if we viewed talking about mental health as a mark of bravery? If we celebrated the men who are honest about their struggles in the same way we admire those who show physical strength or resilience in the face of adversity? Actor Dwayne Johnson and musician Zayn Malik have openly talked about their battles with anxiety. These are men who, by all tradition standards, might be seen as epitomes of masculinity. However, by opening up, they've shown a different kind of strength, the strength of vulnerability and authenticity. Redefining masculinity in this way allows men to access a fuller, richer experience of life. It encourages emotional growth and deeper relationships, while also reducing the pressure to perform a narrow version of manhood. When men are allowed to express the full strength and spectrum of human emotion, it doesn't make them less masculine, it makes them more whole. And the broader impact of speaking out, it